Today is Tuesday, May 28, 2024. It is 81 degrees, over 54%. Quite a nice evening. Unfortunately, it's going to rain soon. We got some clouds moving in up there, but we're still getting some periods of sun. So we're going to have to use the air conditioners in a little while, but for now we can use the fans. Here in the living room we've got the P223 second generation going on high speed. This is the one with the dark brown handle, kind of unusual color scheme. This one's JC Penney branded. With inflation it should be JC Quarter. This works very well here. As you get further back from the fan, the width of the airstream is quite wide. You can see that this is really nowhere near the plant. Oh, now we're getting some wind coming through here, but even though this is probably 4 feet over from the fan, when the wind isn't moving and the fan is pushing the air good, you can see the plant moving, and you can feel it all the way over here at the table and by the couch. Next we have the Robeson box fan. This is that plastic 3-blade one. I still want to check the capacitor to make sure that it is actually running at full spec, or even just replace it, because those little orange ones were not known to last very long. Not very good quality stuff. So we'll get that replaced. This one is also running on high, as indicated by the deteriorating switch. Wow, it's really getting windy out now. Wonder if we're going to get a more of a severe storm. Jeez. Oh, look how powerful this thing is. I really do think that this is one of the best plastic box fans out there. I think this is more powerful than the Lakewood 223, and it's making that power with half of the electricity and half the noise. Really great fan. Now the wind has stopped and you can see what I was talking about before. All this movement here is coming from the 223. It really spreads out the air really nice. Moving into the kitchen, we have a Lakewood 200i, 3rd generation. This is on low, with a beautiful sunny background. I'm glad I figured out this wire thing. I don't know why that never occurred to me previously, but now at least I have a decent solution for putting the fans in the windows. It is kind of blocked off on the top, maybe 2 inches of the blade, but I don't think that it's really affecting it much. If we was going to have a nice stretch of decent weather, I would take the top sash out, but for an hour or two in the evening, it's not worth all that extra trouble. This is a great fan for here because it is smaller, so less of the fan is blocked by the top sash, And it fits on the sill pretty nicely. You know, the bigger ones are another inch or two, and it's not as sturdy. So this kind of is going to become a pretty standard fan here in the kitchen, I think. In the computer room, we have the Lasco Ultra Force window fan. I am so glad I discovered these. This is another really excellent product. It's super quiet, it's very powerful, and I think because it's a pretty large fan, at least in terms of window units, the actual volume of air moved is probably pretty high. This is only on low. I can still feel a strong breeze all the way across the room here. Not that this is a big room, but I can still feel a lot of air moving all the way across the room, and it's quiet enough that it's not disruptive to working with videos on the computer or anything like that. That's typically done in here. So far that windmill is still holding up. I'm a little bit surprised. In the bedroom, we're using the Lasco Power Plus box fan. This one is on number 1. I think these are halfway decent. Moves a reasonable amount of air, especially for the power consumed, but these are kind of failure prone. I've seen quite a few of these where the blade, where the shaft goes into the blade, that whole area just gets chewed up and the shaft ends up spinning inside the hub, and it makes the space wider. Then eventually the blade starts to slip and then the motor overheats. That's actually how I got this one. It was in the trash, and the thermal fuse was blown and the blade was all chewed out around the shaft. So I forget how exactly I fixed it, but I did something to re-secure it. I replaced the thermal fuse and it's been running good ever since. I used this quite a bit for the first year I was moving in, and I've got a lot of hours out of it since I found it and repaired it, and it's still going strong. I don't know what these retail for, but I think $30 or $40 is pretty reasonable for this thing, assuming that you understand how to fix the problem with the blade, which you shouldn't have to fix the problem with a blade on a brand new product, but that's a whole different story. I can still feel air moving all the way across the room. And this is a good 12 feet or so, I think, in this room. Not a bad product by today's standards. And then in here we have something much better. Well, arguably this is a cheesy, cheap piece of junk too, but the cheesy, cheap junk from 1985 or whenever this came from is a lot better than the cheesy, cheap junk of today. This is a Marvin twin window fan. It is the Marvin 210, like the telephone. This is the bigger model. I use these fans quite a bit because they're the best thing that fits into this window. Aside from the Ultra Force, that probably gives it a close competition, but these are noisy, but they're extremely powerful. So even though it's a small fan, it still gets quite a bit of air moving around. I typically use this in the kitchen because I like the sound of it, but I'm using it in here today. Look at all that dust and stuff in the air. No wonder I kept getting something in my eye when I was setting up the fans. Jeez. That's one of the reasons why I don't like to use the air conditioners this time of year, because the condensers just get filthy. It never got very humid and it never rained, so I just kept with the fans upstairs. But I will turn on the dehumidifiers for the night downstairs. This is an Edison 25 pint model with automatic defrost. It's finally staying warm enough down here to switch over to these vintage units instead. Right now it's 74 degrees. I haven't seen it go below 72 for about a week or so. Sometimes if I'm down here or running the laundry equipment, it'll even get up to 78. I've seen it go as high as like 85, 86 last year. I don't know why it gets so warm down here. It's quite a bit different from the old location. Unfortunately, these older dehumidifiers seem to need at least 70 or 71 degrees to operate properly. This one, having automatic defrost, you can run it when it's on the threshold, and if it ices up it'll take care of itself, but it doesn't work that good once you get below 70. So here we go. I don't know what that rattle is, but it always goes away after a couple seconds, so I just ignore it. This one is R134. You can already hear it. It's getting cold already. You can feel the cold push through the coil. It's kind of neat. On the other side we have an Emerson Quiet Cool, branded. I believe this is a Fetters product. This one is also considered an automatic dehumidifier, but it doesn't have defrost. I do have the knob for this. I've seen it in this house, but I don't know where it is at the moment. I had put it in a bag with control knobs and so forth for this air conditioner. I remember finding the bag, and I put the knobs on this air conditioner, and I put the bag back without taking the other knob out because I didn't have that other machine handy, and now I don't remember where I put it. So it's around here in some box of miscellaneous stuff. I just have to come across it again. So for now we just have to plug and unplug this, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. This one is R22. I believe this is a 40 pints model. This is one of those machines I picked up a long time ago, and I'm finally now getting to use it. So I'll let this charge up, and then in a couple minutes we'll come back and listen to the sound of it. I really like the sound of this one. It's got a very meaty reciprocating compressor sound, and it's pretty loud. You can hear it throughout most of the house. When it's quiet, it's not quiet right now because I got fans on, but when it's quiet, that sound permeate to the whole house. It's a nice sound. Alright, that's it for the fans today. I got all the lights off up here because the stinking gnats, or whatever it is, real small things that are smaller than the window screen, start coming through like crazy. So I gotta shut all the lights off so they don't come in. Crickets are starting. It's beginning to sound very nice outside.